This is the Ecommerce Braintrust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our Braintrust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Hello and welcome back to the Ecommerce Braintrust podcast. I'm your host, Kiri Masters, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you're recently listening into this show, we've had a big year at the Ecommerce Braintrust podcast. We have had lots of amazing guests, everyone from e-commerce managers at small brands to CMOs at big companies. And a few weeks ago, I released my second Amazon-related book called Amazon for CMOs, which we showcased on this show as well. And through to the end of 2019, we're also doing something interesting and new to close out the year, and that is live broadcasts of this podcast. And how we're doing that is through live broadcasts on LinkedIn, through my personal LinkedIn profile, Kiri Masters, and also on our Bobsled Marketing Facebook page as well. So we've kicked off this series of live broadcasts this week with a conversation with myself and the advertising director at Bobsled Marketing, Stefan Jordev, talking about Amazon Attribution. And this is an exciting new program, really great topic to pull apart in a discussion and figure out what it is, why Amazon is doing it, and why it's important to brands and advertisers. So it's the perfect way to kick off this new format that we're going to be trying out through the end of the year. So we're going to run the interview with me and Stefan in a few seconds. And in the future, if you want to listen into the conversation while it's live, and depending on how well we master the technology, we may even be able to answer some of your questions live. Just send me a connection request on LinkedIn. I'm Kiri Masters, Kiri, and just mention that you listen to the show. I'll definitely accept your invite if you mention that. And I look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn Live and tuning into this podcast however you want to continue listening into the show. But we're going to have some great advertising related shows where I'm going to be chatting with Stefan. We're going to be also talking about other ways of promoting products and brands on Amazon through channels like Amazon Live Video, A/B split testing, which is coming out. And I think it's going to be a great format that you'll enjoy. But keep me posted. Let me know what you think. And thanks for listening. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Kiri.
I'm Stefan.
And we're broadcasting live today on Facebook and LinkedIn. We're here in this kind of spooky house in Cleveland today. I've got my Cleveland mug, and it's our management retreat this week.
Starting today.
Stick with us. We've got a really great topic today, which is Amazon Attribution. What is it? Why is Amazon doing it? Why should brands consider trying to jump in and access this great new feature? And so let's start with what Amazon Attribution is.
Well, a very exciting opportunity, if you ask me. It's basically a tool that allows you to track sales and traffic from off-Amazon advertising efforts, meaning Facebook or Google or your newsletter or any traffic that would go to your individual product listing. And you're able to track the main KPIs towards it. I just think...
So sales, conversion rate, what?
Yeah, it tracks sales, conversion rates, detailed page views, add to carts. I actually have a list of all the metrics available. We can take a look and just discuss them in more depth. But in essence, it's just a way to really get a clear picture of how your advertising efforts are going and how you can optimize based on that.
Okay. And is it for properties that you own, or can you also get metrics from third-party platforms?
You can basically get metrics for any platform that you use to advertise. And currently it is available for both vendors and sellers within Amazon. With limited availability in the UK. That's basically, we only have worked with US vendors and sellers so far. From what I was able to tell from Amazon's website, there is some limited availability for UK sellers as well. But basically, you're able to track any traffic that you tag and direct towards your Amazon listing.
Okay, so the tagging is important. So Amazon's never had any capability in the past to track external traffic?
I would say not. Obviously, like the Storefront has this feature when you're able to create a tag and then look at the metrics. But just advertising towards an individual product listing has always been an issue, potentially, because a lot of these brands have a great mailing list. They have a great Facebook presence. They have their off Amazon Google efforts. And the tracking aspects was a bit of an issue. And I definitely think this fixes that.
And so with the storefront attribution as well, that was fairly limited, right? You could only track traffic to the storefront.
Basically, just the storefront itself allows you to track traffic. You can't access traffic and sales data, but it's still the landing page itself. You have no control over it other than being the storefront you have created. And just the people who are introducing Amazon attribution and just Amazon representatives who are promoting this expect to see better conversion rate when your traffic goes to an actual listing. Especially, it definitely depends on the products you're promoting and the products you're trying to get sales for, but your best sellers. Driving traffic to your bestseller product listing page, you would expect to have some better conversion rates.
Right. So the problem before was if we send traffic to a storefront, it means that we're going to get data, but the conversion rate's not that great. But if we send direct traffic to our best-selling products, we don't know how effective that Facebook ad campaign was, or how effective that SEO campaign was, or how effective that influencer was.
I would say that's a great summary.
Okay, so that's the bit about it, what the problems that it solves. What do we know so far about how effective Amazon attribution is?
I would say it is a bit early to tell, but the results we've seen is we have seen sales coming in as soon as the same day we've launched the campaign. We are enrolling several other brands in it, and I would be very interested to see how that goes. But so far, I think, and this is also based on some feedback we had, the team actually spoke to Amazon this morning, is when it got released for Seller Centrals, a lot of people started using it more. It is clear that the feature is new, the platform itself that tracks sales is new, and the learning curve is just starting. There are people with a lot of questions. There are a lot of changes that will be happening there. But like I said in the beginning, it's just the whole idea, the whole concept is very exciting. I'm really excited to see how it goes. So we're going to talk a little bit now about why Amazon's doing this, which is, I always like to reverse engineer why Amazon rolls out certain features, because I think it tells us a lot about what we should be doing as a brand and our decision-making criteria as well. So Amazon didn't previously allow you to see where your traffic was coming from. Do you think that they had this capability all along, or why do you think that they rolled this out now? I'm not sure if I can speculate, but when I see how powerful DSP is, I do believe that they have a lot of internal tracking in place. But when it comes to their motives, I think it becomes very obvious, and I think they're very noble, very straightforward, and very obvious, but with the advertising they have within the platform, Seller Central or AMS, with the storefront developments where you basically have your landing page or even a website that exists on Amazon and you drive traffic to it, and the Amazon attribution, I think they're just creating additional ways for brands to direct traffic towards Amazon, which for Amazon means more website visits, more traffic, more sales of the products that are being sold on that platform. I just think when it comes to their motives, Amazon attribution, it becomes really, really evident why they introduced it to sellers.
Right. So it's going to ultimately bring more traffic in from external sources and promote brands to ultimately spend more time and energy promoting their products on Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's no way like a competition with their own internal platform. These brands are currently advertising on Amazon. They are probably driving off Amazon traffic to the storefront. It's just another step that these brands will take towards promoting their brands more.
Yeah, and this is something that we get questions on from our clients fairly frequently is, should I be advertising on Facebook and Google in addition to Amazon PPC? Or like, how should I figure out where to spend my ad budget? And this seems to be a really effective way to figure out how effective your campaigns are outside of Amazon, how they're converting, and whether you should be spending more money on Amazon PPC or on these external channels as well. Okay, so anything else you want to add about sort of how the program actually works right now of a nuts and bolts kind of sense?
Definitely.
Okay.
So everything I have around the program is just random notes I took, a lot of experiments we did internally, but I think I can try and get a complete overview. Basically, just the whole look and feel of the program itself, and even logging in, it is really close to DSP, the whole, just the terminology that is being used, the login page itself. Even for sellers, when you register for Amazon attribution, you have to log in on amazon.advertising.com through the DSP portal. And basically what we did here in Bobsled is we recommended the clients that we work with to get registered for Amazon attribution beta. But I do want to mention for everybody who's listening today is I think the process itself should be straightforward enough for brands to go through it themselves. Even if you just Google Amazon attribution, the landing page that comes up allows you to sign up for it. And once you signed up for it, I would say the features that it currently offers are enough for anybody to start using it immediately. I am sure this will grow and I'm sure it will get more complicated, but so far it's just a matter of setting up an order and line items within that order, which basically, if I'm trying to make a parallel between how we advertise now, is just a campaign and the products that are being included in there.
So why do you, that's a really interesting point, that the terminology and the look and feel is more like DSP than PPC. Or why do you think that is?
I'm not really sure why they would do it this way. I did mention like the whole attribution thing reminds me of DSP, and maybe they've done it internally, but it's probably just a decision they've made to place it within there just because the metrics it offers are just more suited towards DSP. Like they want to be talking about add to cart rates, they want to be talking about detailed page views, and I think having these metrics, having more metrics is always a good idea. Having these metrics for sellers who drive traffic to their listing makes sense.
Okay.
So I do have a feeling like Google advertisers, people who utilize Google Ads are in a bit of advantage so far, just because I've seen a plugin that helps you work with the existing campaigns you've had. I have to say the plugin is something that we just discovered recently and I haven't used it. But in addition to that, there's a bulk file that you can create and just create tracking on a keyword level, which I'm sure many advertisers will find very useful. For any other platform like Facebook, Instagram, newsletters, you can totally create your own tracking or your order, which will track sales and traffic towards the listing. But I do feel like whoever works with Google Ads currently has more features. we know that Amazon is working on a Facebook bulk file currently, and setting up these parameters is going to be challenging for them, I think. Each platform is going to be unique, so it can be a bit challenging trying to unify it for all platforms, but it will be growing, it will be developing, and it's pretty obvious why. I think this is a huge step for Amazon and for sellers.
All right, great. Let's talk about any alternatives. So are there any reasons to not use Amazon Attribution Beta, or we're talking about external traffic to Amazon more generally? Any other considerations with this strategy?
Well, I'm sure like budgets and conversion rates will be of importance to a lot of advertisers. I would expect in general off Amazon traffic to have higher ACoS, maybe a little bit lower ROI than your Seller Central or sponsored products, sponsored brand ads. And this is to be expected when you're advertising to people who are already on Amazon.com. Of course, they have strong
they're ready to buy.
Yeah, they're ready to buy. And I'm sure like budgets and ROI will be of importance to a lot of sellers, but it also has a lot of advantages. I was mentioning before, for brands who have invested in building their brand on Facebook or Instagram, or they have a huge newsletter, it can basically be a free way to promote your products if you have done your homework in the past.
Yeah, so it's more, generally speaking, more top of funnel awareness marketing. And so the situations you might be in is, one, you're very new to Amazon, you need to drive traffic there because it's really difficult within Amazon's platform to get the ball rolling with sponsored product ads, let's say. Or maybe you're in a position where you've really optimized your PPC campaigns the best that you can. You've basically maximized your spend. You can't spend any more money on PPC without your ACoS going up, and you need to widen the top of your funnel.
Yeah, definitely agree. And it's a similar recommendation to brands we've given who are interested in joining DSP. You can basically tell when you're just making the most of your advertising efforts on Amazon. You're able to tell if you are, like you said, you're hitting the ceiling with your advertising efforts. And this is another route you can take.
Yep.
Plus, it always comes to mind to me, I think we're all saying Amazon is getting crowded. People are joining Amazon. And if it's getting crowded, if everybody's using Amazon advertising, you have to try
something new.
Yeah, try something new.
Okay, well, you're not going to like this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Off Amazon paid traffic versus DSP.
I will give you a diplomatic answer just because I don't like the question. Is the beauty of digital and the beauty of advertising off Amazon or just using DSP is the metrics are available instantly.
Right.
Like if you're deciding among them and you have the budget for DSP, and if you're able to try them both for a week, I'm sure it'll take a little bit longer for DSP or for any campaign in general. But if you have the budget to test them initially, you should be able to make a decision relatively easy. And of course, it gets a little bit more complicated. I think it all depends on the type of targeting you use for DSP. Are you retargeting your people who navigated to your page on Amazon? Are you doing a good enough job on Google Ads or Facebook? But ultimately, like I said, the results will be there. You'll be able to tell which one is better.
Well, yeah, it is an interesting thing to think about because Facebook is good at understanding what our interests are and what we like. Google is great for understanding what we are researching. Amazon knows what we actually purchased. And so the ability to target people based on what we have purchased in the past, not just what we're Googling for, because every marketer knows there's a big difference between intent and what you actually do. So Amazon knows that I have a toddler, I have a cat, these are things that people and animals for whom I've purchased in the past, they know what size I am, what kind of diet I have, things like that. So their ability to actually serve you targeting capabilities through DSP, that's not available through your regular PPC platform, but through DSP, that's the really unique thing that Amazon offers. At the same time, if you as a company are very skilled with targeting on Facebook, for example, and you've got some really great affinity audiences set up and you know that you're doing a great job with targeting people based on interests, then attribution is going to be great for you.
Absolutely.
And you don't need to mess around with DSP right away.
Yeah. My thoughts are, if Amazon gets their way, and I think they will, it's not going to be an either-or situation. Yeah. We're going to be on DSP, we're going to be on Amazon, we're going to be on Facebook, and we're going to be advertising on all these platforms, try to get traffic to our listing.
Yeah. Great. All right, anything else to add before we jump off?
I think that's all the notes I had. I do have a random note for the sellers, which I think some of the sellers might find very useful. If you're looking for your Amazon attribution, it is located in your brand analytics section.
Analytics.
Yeah, okay. It is a link right in there, which allows you to register for it. And then, like I mentioned, even for sellers, you are going to access it through advertising.amazon.com and then DSP.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Kiri.
Hey, we're going to try and do this again next week as well. We're going to jump on LinkedIn Live and talk about generally PPC and advertising, but we're going to extend the topics a little bit. We're going to talk about sponsored display, which is quite new, and what we're finding there and best practices. We're going to talk about Amazon Live stream video and other topics as well. So if you've got some ideas, things that you want us to discuss, send me a message on LinkedIn or send Stefan a message on LinkedIn, and we'll catch you again next Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.